hottest thing on Facebook these past few months has been That Blind Tech Show Facebook group. So if you haven't joined it yet, do a search for it and come join us on the Facebook.
Shouldn't do that. That's a no-no. That's don't do that. Mix it up. And they say that some of the best passwords are the ones that you don't even know what they are.
If you have your social media things too public, people can kind of data mine your social profiles to figure out different things. So for example, like if you have your full date of birth on there, or you got it public like who your mom is, who your grandma is.
I got charged $5, Brian.
So you're saying this outline actually cost Jeff Thompson money? Oh, shake it off. Yeah. You did not come here for your Taylor Swift trivia, but...
That's awful presumptuous of you, Brian.
You never know what you'll learn on That Blind Tech Show. And if you want more Taylor Swift trivia on the show, email us in at thatblindtechshow@gmail.com.
I had to go to the emergency room and have it removed, and they gave me a pill that I have to take. And so with that in mind...
So you're saying you're on the pill?
Yeah. I'll be over in a little bit, Brian.
If you do decide to start tracking the types of food you're eating and things like that, have you ever used MyFitnessPal? Because it is actually accessible.
Serina, do you feel offended that the two guys were talking about washers and dryers and you're still wondering what fluff and fold is?
Nope. I have no problem with you guys doing all the laundry. It's all good.
Ooh, Mr. Cotter.
Okay, Horshack, go ahead.
Where's Serina?
Serina had a lot going on.
Let's get it on.
I have a 12 o'clock conference call.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my goodness. That's rough, Brian.
3.
He's up
2.
by the crack
1
of noon.
Welcome back to yet another That Blind Tech Show. It's 2020. We're still here. Nothing threatening this new year. I'm here with the usual cohorts. How were your holidays, Serina?
My holidays were really good, super restful. Got back into the work week this week, and I don't know, I kind of wish I had a little more extra time off. But how were yours, Brian?
Mine were very nice. Mine were not restful because I was traveling all over the eastern seaboard, but they were fun. They were fun with good friends and family, and got through the holidays. I actually did the whole planes, trains, and automobile things, which was kind of cool. And Jeff Thompson, who didn't go far from home, but hey, home is where the heart is. How were your holidays, Jeff?
Sensational. It was actually spectacular at that, too. Even made a snowman.
So you wanted to build a snowman?
Yes. Yes.
You know somebody was going to say it.
Hey, it's winter. It's Minnesota. It's a snowman time. I always go into the shed and I got this hat with a big feather in it. That goes on top of it. It's really cool. It's great.
So the snowman will be there until June 15th.
Mm-hmm. Well, then I rebuild it. I usually rebuild it. I use the bottom one that's just melted, and I make the head back up on the bottom one and then make tiers with the coal. It's really cute.
Since you live in the coldest part of the world, Jeff, have you ever owned one of those pair of the hats when it comes down, it has like the ear warmers and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Those hats always creep me out.
A Nanook. Yeah, I call it my Nanook hat. It's made out of like deer skin or something. Then it's all woolly on the inside, and yeah, comes down.
Boy, the PETA people must love you.
No, PETA loves animals, not people.
Serina, we know you got the AirPod Pros a little early for Christmas, but this first story, you didn't let them anywhere near Trey because some kids are eating AirPod Pros. What were your thoughts about this?
There's so many things wrong with that story. First of all, why is your 7-year-old getting a pair of AirPods? They don't even fit in their ears.
Thank you. That was the first thing I said.
Like, they're too big for a 7-year-old's ears. And even if they're not, you got to protect your kid's hearing. Like, the AirPods get way too loud for a little kid to just have in their ears. But what's more disturbing is that this is not the first time this has happened. Did you guys know that?
To this kid?
No, and like in general, like there was some guy, I feel like it was like India or something, that swallowed an AirPod as well and had to get it like surgically or, you know, the gross way removed, you know?
How hard up would you have to be, Jeff, to reuse the gross way AirPod Pros if this had happened to you, one of your grandkids?
Well, if it passes through, I bet you it sounds like after that.
Someone's going to put a little sensor thing on that.
The thing I love, this kid, he's a real future Mensa member because he was afraid to get near his phone because music might start playing in his tummy. That was my favorite part of this article.
Do you want to lose weight? Well, look no further. Try Apple AirPods. One AirPod will give you all the nutritional plastic you will ever need. Side effects may include a periodic diet show.
How shocked were you, though, that they actually went to a doctor that didn't know what AirPods were?
Yeah, I also wonder if the doctor knows there's a 93 milliwatt battery inside there that could actually just eat right through his whole internal organs.
Serina, do you think we probably have the funniest story of the year already out of the way?
No, it's too early. There will be worse. Don't worry. There's plenty of Darwin Awards to go around.
Jeff, I wanted to post this story on my Facebook timeline, but I was afraid my other blind visually impaired friends might not get to read it because their Facebook timelines would be crashing.
Yeah, that's been interesting. I've seen some things coming out that they're aware of it. They're going to be fixing it. And each day I looked for an update twice a day sometimes now that the Apple has taken 2 weeks off of everything. They should be fixing it, and I can't wait to do it because it's just inadvertently, especially if you do a 3-finger swipe, boom, it's just gone. You're back on your home screen.
Yeah, it wasn't happening to me, and I was laughing at all my other visually impaired friends that it was happening to. Has this happened to you yet, Serina?
Well, I'm like really lazy and forget to do my updates, so sometimes that pays off because I don't have automatic updates turned on. In fact, I have 103 pending updates right now. So I have not had that issue impact me, but as of today, Facebook Accessibility did release something on their Twitter and their Facebook page saying that they have a fix already submitted to the App Store and it's already getting pushed out to everyone. The other really cool thing that happened is as a result of that post, everyone commented on it and said, "Can you fix the alt text too, please?" And surprisingly, they immediately responded and they changed how sensitive it is, I guess, for the accuracy level, and it's working significantly better now.
Now, what was this alt text issue? Because I wasn't familiar with it.
So if it used to be for quite a while there, you could go through and let's say someone posted an image that had text in it, and it would about 90% of the time read you the text fairly accurately. And then just all of a sudden, without warning, maybe, 6 months ago.
Poof. Gone.
It stopped doing that. Like only 1 out of every 10 would maybe get. So they said in the comments that they increased the threshold, something, another, I don't know, but it's working again now, and it's awesome. So the way you'll know if it's working for you is if it says possible text and then reads it to you, you know that it got pushed out to you too. And the weird thing about that one is you don't have to update your app for that to get pushed out. It just magically somehow got fixed for that.
That could be web-based then.
So Facebook probably found another way to invade our privacy by pushing through update without our permission.
It is really nice to not have to wonder what's in the pictures, though.
And Facebook's had a pretty good run of accessibility. So even though this has been a bad one, and I posted about it, they have had a fairly good run when you think about how Facebook was just a few years ago, with things constantly being broken every update.
Well, and I kind of have a slightly different perspective too, in that our community does like get a little frustrated when accessibility is broken or when things don't seem to be working. But I've got to say, Facebook's an equal opportunity feature breaker, I guess, because it happens to sighted people too. Like I constantly see people saying like, because I'm a part of a lot of mainstream type groups, I can't do this in Facebook, I can't schedule this post, I can't do this, I can't do that. Like it's not just the blindness community. I know it probably feels that way, but there's enough messing up to go around.
In defense of Facebook, I think the app is quite robust. When you break it down from pages to communities, the groups, to individuals all the way around the world, and the permissions that you can give as a owner of a group or page to administrators, to moderators, and the tools that they have access to help coordinate and to keep them running efficiently and privately and safely and all that. I think it's a really cool app. When you really think about it, it's huge. And when they do have a problem, there's a lot of different groups that are frustrated with it, but I gotta hand it to Facebook. It is quite the piece of kit.
Yeah, and the hottest thing on Facebook these past few months has been That Blind Tech Show Facebook group. So if you haven't joined it yet, do a search for it and come join us on the Facebook, because I don't think this Facebook thing's going away. I definitely think it's here to stay, although people have been deleting their accounts recently. Jeff, have you ever lived in fear and not been able to sleep because hackers may get a hold of your Apple ID?
Honestly, Brian, ever since I updated to Catalina, the operating system on my MacBook Pro, I've been asked, probably a handful of times that certain operations cannot be completed unless I sign in to my iCloud with my Apple ID. And it's like alarming in a sense, or alerting. Of course, it's a notification, but it's a few different times. Like when you go into the App Store, all of a sudden you have to sign in again. Even when you're just going into your system settings, you might get a notification. Seems like that's where they're incubated. And that's probably why at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, that's why Apple is showing up there. They're not showing up there for any of their gadgets. They're showing up there for privacy.
How about yourself there, Serina? Have you noticed any fishy behavior on your iPhone or other Apple devices?
Not on my iPhone. I have had it like pop up where it's like somebody logged into your Twitter at 2:30 in the morning in Russia, and I'm like, awesome, change the password. So it's always weird when those sorts of things happen. You feel really like violated. And I remember, Jeff, I feel like we talked about this on another show, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago, that happened to you as well, where you're like, you had to change like everything because somebody was messing with your stuff.
I think we all have to be cognizant of what we're doing with our usernames and passwords. If you sign up for some trivial game and then forget about it and don't use it anymore, you still have a username and password out there. And if you've used that on multiple different apps or even in your personal stuff, that's going to work. So when like 170 million people or accounts were violated from the database, they're going to start flooding everything in it. So let's see if they used it on their bank. Let's see if they used it on this. Let's see if they used it on their Apple ID. Let's see. And they just start plugging, just start going for it. So you got to remember that if you have a username and password that you're using on multiple accounts or apps or wherever, you shouldn't do that. That's a no-no. That's don't do that. Mix it up. And they say that some of the best passwords are the ones that you don't even know what they are. And if you do get the opportunity to have two-factor authorization, do it. Yup. That's a good thing because that'll isolate it, that it has to refer back to your device and no one else can have that.
Well, the other thing that people don't realize is happening is if you have your social media things too public, people can kind of data mine your social profiles to figure out different things. So for example, like if you have your full date of birth on there, or you've got it public, like who your mom is, who your grandma is, who your, all those things, they're perfect things that security questions answer, like mother's maiden name and, things like that. It's not just coming from the breaches, it's also from your own social media profiles too.
Favorite
sometimes.
pet, he may have a guide dog.
Yeah. We could totally hack into Brian's stuff.
Well, I've told you time and time again, I use 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I get really tricky when it has to be
password.
6. I go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm much more clever when it's 6.
Yes, sir. Yes, I did get the password. Yes, I'm in Brian's phone right now. But all I'm seeing is pictures of bald people.
They're saying not to worry about this. The two-factor authentication has prevented a lot of these hackers. So if you are getting something popping up on your iPhone asking you to change your password, don't worry too much about it, at least for now, they're saying. I plan to hibernate for the next 6 months, so I won't have to deal with any of this. And, then we'll be doing iOS 14, and hopefully it'll be a much better operating system.
This is one Apple update that I hope falls further from the tree.
Ooh, that's very whimsical. So here in New York, I've been very fortunate for the past year and a half to have been in a pilot program where I got to take $3 cab rides anywhere I wanted.
Wait. A pilot? Brian, you?
Yeah.
Serina, we're going places.
We are. So
not that kind of pilot, Jeff.
Unfortunately,
Not that kind of pilot.
Yeah. You misunderstood. Did I speak too fast? Anyhow, the pilot program is now ending, and the fun of me getting around very easily because they're going back to the Stone Ages here in New York City with Accessorides. So I'm starting to look at other modes of transportation, and this next story caught my fancy. Boy, I don't sound like Dorothy there.
Are we telling stories?
It's story time.
Oh.
Do you guys make use of Uber that much? And have you ever used Siri to just book your Uber ride? And if so...
Yeah, thanks for sending that notice to me, Brian, because I decided to try it.
Yeah.
And okay, so Siri goes, what kind of ride do you want? I said, okay, I'll take an X, and boom, I got an X. And then it starts opening an app. And before the app opens, it says, your driver's on the way. So now I'm like, what? I didn't put in a thing. I didn't say where I'm going or anything. So I'm swiping through the thing. And all of a sudden it says, he's 3 minutes away. I'm like, I can't hit So I had to cancel. Finally, I cancel it, and it says, you're too late, basically, to cancel this because he's like pulling up, I got charged $5, Brian.
So you're saying this outline actually cost Jeff Thompson money? And on a side note, it works pretty well, obviously.
It does. They get here pretty quick.
And that is why I don't use Siri to schedule Uber.
No, I highly recommend do not use it to schedule Uber unless you're just being cash and you don't really care.
Now, did it put in your location, or did it know where you were going, or no? They just sent a car coming to you.
When I was swiping through it, I did check to see, and there's no location was added. So this guy just blindly just said, I'm going to go pick up this guy and bring him I don't know where.
Well, they don't tell the drivers where the destination is to prevent them from discriminating against like short rides. So they wouldn't know where you're going until they got to you anyway.
Why do Uber drivers care about people's height?
Well, you have to be this tall to get in this Uber.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting to know what's on their dashboard and what's not on their dashboards. Thanks for that.
Yeah, it will only tell them if it's like a really long ride that's more than 45 minutes so that they can decide if they have the time for that or not.
Oh, yeah, because they have a certain hours. They can't go over their hour limit.
I think it's like 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
So as somebody that doesn't use Uber a lot, I assume when you book it, you do put in your destination so you know how much it's going to cost, right?
It makes the most sense to do it that way, but you don't necessarily have to, if that makes sense. Like you could change it later or whatever. But yes, you do typically put in the destinations. I'm surprised it deployed the car to you before you even like confirmed it.
Yeah.
I know. I did not confirm because usually you get that choice to confirm the pickup spot. And well, with Siri,
and how much it'll be.
Siri's all about speed and getting somebody to you as quick as possible. So in other words, the only time you should use Siri to book an Uber is when your wife or girlfriend is in labor, is what you're telling me.
People are using Ubers and Lyfts to go to the hospital more than ambulances now because it's cheaper.
Or when your husband falls off the ladder, Brian.
Oh, did that happen? Is there a story behind that?
Well, we got to move on. The other thing about Uber, it's really nice if you use it. I use it quite frequently. It does populate the places that you frequent a lot. So it's pretty quick, like home or LA Fitness or the Tria Center, blah, blah, blah. You can just tap it and it's pretty quick. But using Siri, it's faster than you ever imagined. Prunes. Not as good as banana, but hey.
Unless you're constipated.
Yeah, well, thanks for that commercial break.
The hamster fell off the wheel.
So, Jeff, you're telling me the mixer works better if it's actually plugged in?
How many times did Serena say, I think it's a power issue?
I checked it.
6.
I checked
6, Serena.
Nobody listens to the female.
Correct. Brian's a nobody. I did.
You're just here for,
Careful.
There could be an opening for a host on That Blind Tech Show. Now pay attention. Brian's going to try and extract foot from mouth.
The only thing I could say would get me into trouble, so I'm not going to say anything.
See?
So Brian will be quiet the rest of this show.
I still want to know who fell off the ladder, though.
And the mystery continues.
Serena, I listen. I listen.
So after that nice commercial break where hopefully some of our audience got to use the facilities, Jeff, even though Siri books you rides, are you looking forward to the day when you could use Siri to book a flying Uber?
Yeah, that's quite exciting because at the CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, Uber and Hyundai have on display right now a 4-seater air taxi. And yes, Brian, it's expected in operation in 2023, which is, most people say, is pretty aggressive expectations. And just between you, Serena, and Brian and myself, and our other 3 listeners, I very much doubt 2023 will have air taxis in flight.
You don't get it? Do you understand how flight works?
Yes, I do. It's a concept which involves Lyft, but we're talking Uber.
The Orville brothers.
No, I'm talking about the guy with the feathers glued to his arms.
Or is that the popcorn guy?
It's the Wright brothers, Brian.
The Orville brothers. Who are the Orville brothers?
Brian, Orville Redenbacher was popcorn.
They're not popcorn. Alexa, who are the Orville brothers?
Orville Redenbacher, who invented popcorn, had 2 other brothers also named Orville. The 2 brothers were the first brothers to serve popcorn on an airplane.
Well, there you go. I see where you could be confused, Brian.
I'm pretty sure it was the Wright brothers that invented flight.
It was Frank and Lloyd Wright.
Ooh, look at the big brain on Jeff.
at Kitty Hawk, and they had the double wing, and they flew for over 100 yards, and it was the first flight.
Well, unlike Serena and I, you were actually there.
That's right.
So
Someone had to start the propeller.
That was very nice of you. Very nice. Well, you did a nice job. So you're not buying into this flying Uber thing, even though they say we're closer than you think. And if my math serves correct, 23 minus 20 is only 3 years.
So my understanding is Hyundai is going to build these,
Hyundai?
Hyunda.
Hyundai.
It's
Hyundai.
Hyundai. It doesn't matter.
The Japanese company.
Hyundai is going to build these for Uber, and they said they had a 60-mile range, and then it only takes 10 minutes once they land at an airport to refuel by charging back up, and they're ready to go again. So it sounds like, just a hop, skip, and a jump,
So they're saying Uber will still be in business in 2023, because last I checked, I believe they got kicked out of London.
Puddle jumper, not pond jumper.
Serena, would you dare step into a flying Uber?
I don't know.
Take your time, Serena. Take your time.
I mean, it would be really cool to go from Colorado Springs to Denver in like 15 minutes. Like that's pretty appealing. So I don't know. I have heard that in New York that Uber is allowing like super elite fancy people to book like helicopters through their app somehow.
Yeah, they call those people Fishler.
You wish.
That smells fishy to me.
That's so 2019.
Oh
smelling
my goodness,
fishy?
I'm sorry.
That you could take a Uber from downtown to LaGuardia or JFK, flying Uber, a helicopter and everything. But
Well, as opposed to a non-flying helicopter?
they call that just crash. Or splat. Splickety splack if you're really rich.
Okay, sir, here we are at the corner of 9th Avenue and 6th Street. Oh, thank you very much. Watch your step. What do you mean?
This is one of those innovations that with all the movies and books that, we've seen this happen, the flying car, that I'm not talking chitty chitty bang bang. I'm talking like Back to the Future. I think it's going to be practical. Like Serena said, make the distance from Colorado Springs to Denver so much shorter, so much more convenient to use, to utilize, that there might be a business in it. So look out, Pops. Times, they are changing.
Meet George Jetson.
I know when. As soon as, it'll be here as soon as I walk out the door and hear, meet George Jetson.
I feel like I'm not even here.
Serena, I'll fix that in editing. I got your back.
I know when. As soon as, it'll be here as soon as I walk out the door and hear,
Meet George Jetson.
Do not use Siri to book a flight
Yeah.
with Uber.
No, not yet. You got to wait 3 years.
Don't try it. Yeah.
You'll end up in Canada or something.
That's pretty cool stuff. I thought it was pretty cool. I think the fact that it's closer than we think.
Canada?
Okay, because Serena felt left out, I'll ask her right now. What happens first? Flying Ubers to get around or blind autonomous vehicles allowed with us blindies driving them?
I think the flying Ubers are first. And part of it, and I don't know if this Hyundai, I don't know how we really say it. I don't know if that partnership is also part of the NASA partnership that Uber had too, because they were partnering with NASA to develop these vehicles too at some point. So I think those are more in reach than us being able to have an autonomous vehicle, honestly.
I just like the fact that we'll be able to get around easier in the future.
As compared to what? I mean, where are you going, Brian?
Nope.
You're on your couch. You're at the IRA hotspot. What else is there?
As soon as I got back into New York City from the holidays, I got like 45 pop-up notifications. So it's a good from Ira. So it's a good thing I muted all those things and everything. But yeah, it was like happy that I was home, I guess.
Come fly with us.
It's Come Fly With Me. It's Frank Sinatra.
No, it's Ira's new slogan song for their hotspot right outside your door.
Yeah.
That's a better one for the Uber one. That would be like super cool.
What? Come Fly With Me?
Come fly with us.
Us, Brian.
Us.
It's plural. I know you're quite alone most of the time, but
It's inclusive.
Dude, don't you always Uber? I don't Uber pool ever. I'm a snob.
I would never Uber pool either, but it's harder. I feel like it's harder with a guide dog though too.
Yeah. I never know what's proper, and we know if there's one thing I'm not, it's proper. Serena, have you been getting slammed with a lot of multiple emails from every company on the planet that does business in California that they've updated their privacy policy?
I sure have, and I have not read not one of them. I've just deleted them
is
and
that a
kept going.
double negative? I have not read not one of them.
No, it's not. Thank you for trying to correct my grammar, though.
I'm going to let the listeners in on a little secret. You have to be very word specific on this podcast or somebody will rip
not
your
me.
head off.
Must be
proper
Mr.
English.
Thompson over there.
Oh my God.
Not you. Oh, cat, kettle, black.
Did you call me a cat?
What's that
Pot,
expression?
kettle, black. Pot, meat, kettle.
There wasn't a cat in the kettle.
Are you
I don't know
cooking
what
cats
cat.
now?
It was another 3-letter word.
PETA doesn't like people. They like cats.
Yeah, this is the PETA alarm show. Starting the year off with an enemy there. But where did I get cat
Calling the kettle black.
cat pot?
I don't
black?
know.
It's been a good run. I hadn't butchered anything on this show before I broke my mixer, but
And if you know how to plug in a mixer and want to be host on That Blind Tech Show, drop us an email at thatblindtechshow@gmail.com.
And by broke, you unplugged it.
things. I live in a universe where things don't need to plug in. You know, I don't have any lights on.
Hey, we're equal opportunity on here, and that's Brian. He's on here, even though he does have his issues. You know, we're very inclusive. Welcome, Brian.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Yeah, he's special. He needs a little extra help.
Stop licking your iPhone, Brian.
I told you that in strict confidence.
Well, Jennifer Aniston called me up and said, tell him to stop it, please.
She calls me on FaceTime, and I like to lick the screen. What can I say? I have issues.
That's not Jennifer Aniston.
I
Brian.
know.
Just letting
I
you know. It's Jeff.
Oh, but when he calls on my phone, it says Jennifer
Serina,
Aniston.
I told you that in strict confidence.
You're just letting all the cats out of the bag. Did I get that one right?
Ding, ding.
There's the right
Okay.
one. That's what you were trying to say. There
I
you
have
go.
cats on the mind, you know? You know the cat's in the cradle.
And the silver spoon.
But nobody actually saw cats, though, because that movie was horrible. But
I heard Jeff broke in the new year by sitting on the cat, you know?
again.
Hey.
Jeff, did you have anything to add to the privacy concerns?
No, I have nothing against privacy.
Jeff, have you been taking shots over there?
No, what am I supposed to say about privacy? I mean, yeah, we all love our privacy, but we're all on social media. We have how many devices that people can actually infiltrate us in the most vulnerable ways. I mean, do not get in a car with a stranger, and now we get into Ubers with people that are total strangers, and yeah, take me somewhere. Yeah.
The world's upside down. It's a crazy place. Actually, Jeff, you had a good point to make before the show, which I want you to bring up. You see, people, we do research before the show. This California policy law is really thanks to the European Union and the whole Google fiasco, which started over there. And you're going to start seeing these privacy laws probably pop in multiple states as well as multiple countries. Jeff, the blindness community, this affected our European brothers and sisters that are blind, didn't it, with IRA?
Yeah, one of the reasons is with the European Union, whether they have that Privacy Act, and I think that's what California is starting to adopt or has adopted. Like you said, you know, we're not going to get 50 states coming up with 50 different policies, so the trickle down through all the states is happening. That's what all this privacy awareness is coming out, that they're all adopting. And that's why at Heathrow Airport, you can get IRA, but after the beta process ran out over there, they weren't allowed to use IRA because of the Privacy Act. And they said if they do break away on the Brexit plan, they're going to adopt the European Union standard for privacy. So it'll continue on there. So I'm just wondering if this Privacy Act that was passed in California is going to affect anything. It all started with the Google Glasses back in the day of people don't want to be filmed and everything like that. So it's going to be interesting where this goes in the future.
Yeah, and I wonder if, because I heard New York is close to adopting something similar to California, does that mean that IRA-free hot bus stop will go away? Which I kid about it, but I like it. I mean, I don't think IRA's becoming illegal in California and everything, but who knows where this could lead, as I think we're fear-mongering here. But
well, Brian, you're a football fan, right?
I am guilty as charged.
Do you remember back in the Super Bowl when they did facial recognition where they warned everybody that who's going to be there, that they are going to be taking pictures of all the fans, panning the thing and using facial recognition?
I do not. Were they looking for certain criminals or something? What was the point behind it?
At Super Bowl 35 in January 2001, police in Tampa Bay, Florida used Visage face recognition software to search for potential criminals and terrorists in attendance at the event.
It was a way of, you know, at one crack, they could get, 70-some thousand people recorded. And it was just interesting that that was, 19 years ago when that happened. And now here we are today, and there's so much facial recognition being used. Like when you go into the DMV, Serena didn't catch that. Or when you go into certain stores, if you've been arrested for shoplifting, or banks and stuff, there are cameras that are using facial recognition nowadays. That it's quite concerning. I mean, just to think that there's that much software out there. And yet here we're using IRA for something and it's considered Privacy Act when you're probably being recorded right now.
I live in New York City. We don't have cameras anywhere.
It's funny that you say, like, Jeff, when you mentioned all the places that are recorded, and it made me think Taylor Swift actually uses facial recognition for her concerts to prevent her stalkers from being at her concerts. So if they're recognized, they get kicked out. So Brian, you're not allowed at her concerts anymore,
That's why I've never been to a Taylor Swift concert.
Again.
Yeah. I actually had heard of that musician.
I'm shocked.
I know that one song, Haters Gonna Hate.
That's not what it's called.
Oh, well, you don't expect me to have the names of the songs, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of fascinating stuff if you ever read through the 600 pages of any of those privacy memorandums and everything. I'm the one, because I have that kind of time on my hand. But
Tears on My Guitar.
Is that Eric Clapton?
No, Brian, that's Tears in Heaven.
Teardrops on My Guitar. And the song that Brian was referencing was Shake It Off.
Oh, Shake It Off. Yeah. You did not come here for your Taylor Swift trivia, but
that's awful presumptuous of you, Brian.
You never know what you'll learn on That Blind Tech Show. And if you want more Taylor Swift trivia on the show, email us in at thatblindtechshow@gmail.com or tweet us in before your privacy goes away on Blind Tech Show on the Twitter. Jeff, you got to start on the new year way before anybody else because you turned over a new leaf. What was it, November? Was it in November or October?
I think it was October. It was a month before Thanksgiving, somewhere around there. And and that leaf was edible. Let me tell you, you just juice it and there it goes.
What kind of leaves are you eating? Did you pay a visit to Colorado?
No, honestly, no, man. Wow. Why would you bring that up?
You sound like you...
Literally.
You guys keep bringing that up, man. No, speaking of leaves like kale or spinach and stuff like that.
Hold on. Before he goes into that, those leaves would make him want to eat Twinkies, Serena, but go ahead, Jeff.
Or he'd hallucinate eating Twinkies.
I saw this movie, this video, a documentary. A guy from Australia came over here and he did this documentary, and it was called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dying. And it was just interesting to see how he had to take medications for certain things and health reasons. So he switched over to just juicing vegetables and fruits. And he did this for 60 days and lost 90 pounds and came off of his medications and didn't have this disease thing, the symptoms anymore. And it was just interesting to do that. And at the same time when that happened, I had an impaction in my esophagus and I had to go to the emergency room and have it removed. And they gave me a pill that I have to take. And so with that in mind...
So you're saying you're on the pill?
Yeah. I'll be over in a little bit, Brian. With all that happening, I decided to change what I was eating and thinking that maybe the foods and stuff. And after seeing this documentary, I bought a juicer and a Breville, I believe it's called. And
Jeff, just for the listeners, how accessible is the juicer that you're using?
It's very accessible. You put it together. You can't get your fingers in.
I could, yeah.
Hopefully.
Our listeners can't.
Yeah, you can't get your fingers in there. And if you don't have it put together right, you can't turn it on. So there is a safety mechanism. When it's put together right and locked up into position, then it can be turned on. So that's safe. And the waste goes out one side and the juice comes out the other side. And so I do a morning and what I call a dinner one. And it's 16 ounces. So I do 8 ounces. Then right around 11 o'clock, I do 8 more. Then around 2 and then around 5 or 6. And that really has made a difference, and I'm breathing good. I used to have this cough for about 3 years, and I haven't had that. And Serena remembers that cough during all our podcasting.
I remember that cough.
Yeah. And I haven't had that problem at all, and I've lost, 40-some pounds now in 70 days, wow. And I feel good. I mean, I'm playing playing blind hockey for the Minnesota Wild blind hockey team, and I'm getting my fitness, and everything's coming back. And it's just like, wow. I don't know if it was dairy. I don't know if it was grains. I don't know if it was sugars or processed foods, but I'm not chancing it. I'm just sticking with it. And slowly I'm starting to do some foods back in. But it's a really neat, interesting thing to do. It's not for everybody. It's a lot of work getting all your vegetables all lined up. Cutting up a pineapple is not a piece of cake. It's, speaking of cake, I miss cake. But it's really a chore. But when you can start breathing good after 2-3 years of not, it's like rewarding. And then the side effect of all this is losing weight. And
just for the listeners, you weren't overly heavy to begin with. I mean, you were in decent shape when you started this, correct?
Yeah, I was fine. I was, I've always been kind of athletic in a sense, but I knew I wasn't in tip-top shape, and right now I'm feeling really good, and I feel like I'm alert, I'm waking up, I'm sleeping, everything seems to be ticking real good right now. And what am I, 70-something, Serina?
You never know. I mean, you could be like 212 and we still wouldn't know.
The Loch Ness Monster, Jeff's age, they're all things that the abominable snowman. But what people probably really want to know that are interested in this, how difficult were the first few days, and how long did it take to get over those first few days where this wasn't as difficult anymore?
The difficult thing was people in my household were like making pizzas, brownies, and all sorts of other things. And, it was right around Thanksgiving.
So you have a good support group is what you're saying?
No, I did not have a good support group. However, after 3 days, that was the toughest part, the 3 days, because your memory muscles want to go out to the cupboards or, just grab a snack, just a handful of this or something, these little things that add up. But after about 3 days, I was over that. And right around day 9, I would say, I remember actually setting out all the vegetables that I would eat that day, drink that day. And then I actually went in the cupboard and took out like a cereal bowl, a box of cereal. I took out some bread and stuff, and I started lining that up, and it was bigger, it was longer, it was immense of the stuff you would eat in a day. And it's just like, wow. And it was over. After about day 10, I had more time. I wasn't spending time walking around thinking I gotta eat, and eating just became kind of like a survival thing. I had enough micronutrients, that's what you're getting out of the vegetables and the fruits, to sustain, and I was doing fine. And after I went up to Toronto there for 5 days, and I came back, and I have actually lost weight because I was eating some salad, really good salads, and some soups and stuff like that. So I think overall, for anybody that wants to change something or go for health, don't go for weight loss, go for health, that you can sustain yourself on good foods, and it's learned. And after a while, you just appreciate finding a walnut or a cranberry in a salad, and it's like, ooh, that's a burst. Not walnuts aren't a burst of flavor, but a cranberry or something like that. So it's just retraining yourself, and I call it rebooting. So I've rebooted. I'm really happy. I'm excited about tomorrow, and hockey is really fun. Quite a thing. If anybody out there is interested in blind hockey, look it up. You can be a beginner. You can be someone that's played before. Give it a shot. I'm amazed by it. The people and the people involved in it is really cool. So that's a big shout out to the Hendrickson Foundation out here in Minnesota. And Brian, you're the one that kind of inspired this in me, because you lost, I don't know how many pounds you were up, but you lost a big amount, and you were committed to, I think it was the NutraSystem.
NutraSystem, yeah. I lost not over, you hear that 40 pounds over 70 days. I don't know if I could ever juice, but I got on NutraSystem. It was coming this February, it would be about 2 years ago, and I'm still doing the NutraSystem. I'm just not doing it every day. I've maintained, which, with a diet like NutraSystem, maintaining once you go off it is the toughest thing. And I've maintained my lowest, clothing size and everything. They still fit good. Last few weeks with the holidays, I've been off it. I've got to get into some tip-top shape for some things I have coming up, so I'm back fully on the NutraSystem. Started yesterday. And, one thing I'll say about NutraSystem, I've created a way, thanks to technology, where it is doable, because it's not fully accessible. Their website, which is a disaster, it's gotten better with its accessibility to screen readers, but there are a lot of issues. But getting started, and that's the biggest thing, one, it's not cheap, but when you're somebody like me and you're ordering out every meal, which is the unhealthiest thing you could be doing, if you stick to it, it's just as affordable was eating out all the time or ordering in. What I did is I called them up. They answered a lot of my questions. Like I said, it's been a few years that I've been on it. And what they do with NutraSystem is they send you the food for the month. Now, you do need to get your fruits and vegetables and other little things that you're going to have. I eat a lot of salad now and everything. So there are other foods you'll eat, and they're sending you a breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 2 snacks a day. I've really only ever done the 1 snack. And unfortunately, their app is not fully accessible either. They still haven't fixed it, which kind of boggles my mind because I know they're well aware of it. But what I did, and this is what will probably work for a lot of you if you're looking to get onto one of these healthy eating ways, when you start out on any kind of diet, tracking your daily eating habits, you got to do it. I don't do it anymore. In fact, maybe I should get back into it. But it's nice to see. You don't even need to read over it, but it just lets you know, okay, here's what I ate today and here's what's working. And then, you never weigh yourself every day. Once, twice a week. They say once a week. I was doing it twice a week. But it's nice just to have that little improvement every few days. And what I did, since I couldn't keep track of my daily eating in the app, which they encourage you to do, I created a note in Apple Notes, and I have it on my phone as well as my computer, and I just keep track of a running tab every day of, day 1, day 2, day 3 of what I ate that day and everything. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of days NutraSystem actually encourages you to eat 1 breakfast, lunch, and dinner off of it a week, and there have been weeks where I've done more of it, but once you get back on it, it really does work. And I think gone are the days of saying, oh, well, that's not fully accessible. For example, these foods they sent me at first, I would use either Ira to put the breakfasts in one area, the lunches in another, dinner, because some of the food's frozen and some of it is not frozen, but they have an excellent selection, and as long as you're not a gourmet food person, which I never was, you'll be able to adapt to the food. And like Jeff, the biggest thing was the first few days was really tough because you get really hungry. And call NutraSystem because they will talk to you. Just mention you're blind. You'll get a counselor on the phone to talk to them, and they'll just explain the whole plan to you. And I was really impressed with that. I wish their app and website were more accessible. Eventually, you get used to what certain foods are by the feel of them and everything. Otherwise, the other thing that I've been using is Voice Stream. Is it Voice Stream or Dream? Because we know I always get it wrong.
You still got it wrong.
It's Voice Stream. I use Voice Stream Scanner every day, where if I want to know, just confirm what something is, and normally it gets everything on the first try, if not on the second. But I've been pretty happy with it, and it's worked for me. Now, both of these ways of eating may not work for you, and as I told Jeff, the #1 dieting days for men is coming up here. It's actually the day that most men start diet out of the entire year, day after the Super Bowl, which is less than a month away. So it might be that time for you to jump on this. And Serina, we know that you're probably uber thin and can eat whatever you want, but what are you doing these days? Are you eating healthy? Are you ordering in? Is Chuck smoking birds all the time? What's going on there?
Before I answer your question, I do have a quick maybe suggestion for you. If you do decide to start tracking the types of food you're eating and things like that, is have you ever used MyFitnessPal? Because it is actually accessible.
I have not, but that's a great suggestion.
Yeah, you can search for different foods. You don't have to know exactly the nutrition facts on it. You can search for foods and add it.
Mine, I wasn't entering the nutrition facts. It was just keeping track of what I ate that day. So it was like day 5. Yeah, I ordered White Castle. So I know that I went off the diet or whatever.
Yeah, but MyFitnessPal, even if you did order White Castle, you could type in White Castle and it'll pull up. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm really doing right now is for a couple months I did do intermittent fasting, which was actually really effective for me because I was looking to lose maybe 5 pounds, but then I got tired of it. I was like, I'm where I need to be. But now what we're trying to do is we're being more conscious about doing meal planning. So we don't do the whole let's prepare everything on Sunday and freeze it, because I'm really weird about eating prepared foods and freezing it. But we're planning out our meals so that we're eating out less, which naturally will help financially and with nutrition and things like that too. So hopefully that'll help us out this year.
I think one of the most important things is health. I would like to say that the weight loss, I used to go to the gym and everything I did was, I want to lose weight. No, I want to be healthy. And I'm going back in March and they're going to do a test and stuff like that, see if my cholesterol's down, see if my thing with the esophagus, I don't want to take any pills anymore. I'm down to 2 pills that I take, and I think I'm going to go in there and be able to get off of them. So that's my goal.
So Jeff, I know that you are a new proud papa of an Apple Watch 5. The only anyone on the show that has the Apple Watch 5. Are you making use of that Apple Watch in either A, tracking what you're eating, or all of its great health features?
What I'm really using it's all related to the health app that's in there. You can put all your data in there and everything, but there's an activity and there's a workout feature that you can use from your watch. And with the combination of your phone and your watch and doing a workout, like if you're cycling and stuff, you can actually ask Siri and you won't be charged $5. But
how many blind people are cycling, Jeff?
But they may be going to the club and having a stationary type of bike is what I'm saying. So if you can just say start workout indoor cycling, and it'll actually go right into a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and you can start doing it. And it monitors your heart rate and everything. So it's pretty cool. And then when you get done, you put an end to it and records that data that you did it, how many calories you burned. So it's a neat way to set up goals, such as like if you want to burn 500 calories a day, you fill that ring. Or if you're active, you fill that ring, how much exercise you've done or your standing things. And you can challenge people. But the main thing is it's just kind of getting a feedback to what you're doing, or if you're weight training and you can punch that in. Swimming, there's possibilities for there. So it's just a neat way to get feedback. I guess now that I have the Apple Watch 5, I guess I wanted to make more use of it. It's interesting. It's confusing a little bit, but with a little trial and error, maneuvering around and seeing how it works with the phone and everything, it's pretty cool. The other thing I noticed was the AirPod Pros, that sometimes it goes seamlessly from the phone to the watch, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I haven't noticed that, but since I 3-2-1 a lot on the podcast, is that like me starting a workout?
Yeah, well, podcasting. I used to say that podcasting, it adds 20 pounds to you.
Well, editing me probably does that. Serina, do you make use of any of the health features? I know you have an older Apple Watch there, but are you using any of the health features to monitor anything?
Not too much. Currently, Jeff and I are in a competition, which I'm sure I'm going to lose. Because he is far more active than I am. It's kind of like a gimmick thing for me. Like for a month or so, I'll be like looking at it, and then after that, I forget about it. And I recently figured out that I have the Series 1 Apple Watch, so I think it's about to like go dunzo because it's acting real weird lately.
Jeff, have you changed any of the default functions? I think mine's set to like a little as low as 300 calories a day, which I know I need to be doing much more than that. But have you changed any of the default settings for your health features?
Yeah, at first I changed the calorie burn to 800, and then I brought that real quickly. I brought that back to 500. It seems like 500 was the default at one time. I can't remember. But yeah, it's not that difficult to change these. You know, it has the hard press. You do the hard press when you're on the activity, and then it'll pop it up, and you can actually change your goals. So it's nice to be able to do that because, you know, you want to feel satisfied. You know what I mean? You don't want to put unattainable burning 800 calories for an average person. That's quite the ambitious effort that you're going to be putting forward. So I brought it back to 500, and I think I have a fit 30. Right now it's set for 30-minute exercise. So yeah, fill those rings. It's one of those little things that you know, feels good about yourself. You know, as you go along, you might want to increase it or decrease it, whatever you got going for you. But like Serina said, it's kind of a novelty for a little bit. And once you get into a routine, if you went around the block 3 times, you know you went around the block 3 times. You don't need a watch to tell you that. You know it's X amount of steps, and you know you're doing good. If you need the feedback for stuff, it's really cool. And I like that. And I'm just exploring the watch, trying to make it seem like, you know, hey, I really need this watch. But anybody that is thinking about a watch, I think the 4 right now is the best watch to get for the price. The 5, the only difference is it's always on. So when you turn your wrist up, it doesn't turn on, but that doesn't really matter for me. So that's about the only difference between the watches.
Yeah, I have the 4, but as Jeff knows, a lot of my features don't seem to work on it. Like, hey, S lady, or the raise to speak and everything. I got to go into the Apple store one of these days and have them look at all my devices. But so CES, and yes, I got it correct this time. And one of the exciting things that I saw, I hope you guys got a chance to look at this, was this article about Bluetooth getting ready to completely change the way we know it. Jeff, did you get a chance to read this article about the changes coming to the new Bluetooth?
Yeah, it's really interesting, especially like they said, like you could have a group of people over, all of them could be Bluetoothing to the same stereo system, let's say, and they could all be receiving it without any lag. They'd all be on the same thing. Even in a movie theater, everyone could be listening to a movie, like a home theater or something. They could all Bluetooth into it. Or you can go from multiple devices without, you know how fun that is to repair something.
Yeah.
Not repair, but to pair something up and then disconnect and pair it up over here and make sure your phone's not connecting before this and all that. So that's going to be really interesting if they do come, when it does come out.
Yeah, the only thing that stinks about this is it's not going to work with any of our current devices hardware-wise. So I did read that it's only going to be new hardware that'll have this Bluetooth frequency. I forget what the exact name of it was. But Serina, what were your thoughts? I think this might be something huge for our friends that are deaf-blind and everything that need to use hearing aids. I mean, this could be a huge news for them.
Yeah, I think it could be really useful. And I never realized the technology that came with like totally wireless AirPods and things like that. And that it really is only sending it to one. And then the headphone itself is kind of sending it to the other side. I never even realized that, because with the new AirPod Pros, the lag is almost unnoticeable with voiceover, like when you're typing and things like that, even compared to the original AirPods. So it's the technology in that. Imagine when the Bluetooth improves, how much better something like what Apple's done will be, I guess even a year from now.
Yeah. No, it's like I said, this article really piqued my interest because outside of this, so far, everything I've heard out of CES, it seems almost like retread, smart toilets, which I'm a renter, so they're not going to let me put in a smart toilet, or batteries that charge even faster. I mean, is any of this caught your eye so far, Jeff?
There's only a few things that really have perked my attention, but I'm really interested in what Jaws is going to be doing, with the kiosk that is, I said that right, Serina?
Now you're overemphasizing it.
Yeah. Like when you go to the McDonald's or you go to these places where people just go up and they swipe a few times and they get their stuff delivered to table 5 or whatever's going to happen. It's like a walkthrough or a drive-through. But to me, I just walk past that stuff and go right to the counter. But, what they're doing at Visaro is they're creating JAWS software that'll be able to be implanted into these or put into these devices, these kiosks, to make them accessible, like we've had with ATM machines and plugging in a set of headphones or something of that nature. So that's really cool that Visaro's working on that. I'm excited about a couple other things that I can't mention one of them because I got some insider information, Brian, that I won't mention.
Was that the sex toys thing about CES?
Oh my goodness.
Hey, they got their award back and they're allowed to be there again.
Yeah, that was a big thing. That's a big part of CES. So we're just talking about the news here, Serina. Serina, how much are you looking forward to the day when you could just ride your guide dog through the McDonald's drive-thru and use the kiosk all on your own?
Your sentence made absolutely no sense, Brian. What are you talking about?
What?
Nah. Giddy up.
What, you don't ride your guide dog?
Yeah, from sex toys to riding your dog. I don't know.
Are you saying
Brian.
that was an odd transition?
Well, who rides their guide dog? Like, what are you talking about?
That's not how they work.
And the kiosk isn't in the drive-thru, it's in the lobby.
He said drive-thru.
No, he didn't.
I heard him say drive-thru.
Well, the kiosk is inside. People don't have to go up to the counter.
I thought the kiosks were like the things you touch instead of
Did
talking.
you read this article?
I did read this article. I would never send an article without reading it. I was trying to have an interesting segue, which obviously did not come out so well.
How does PETA feel about someone riding a guide dog? I'm just curious.
Serina, has there been anything out of CES that's turned your head and caught your attention?
Not really. I mean, back in the day, I used to be like, oh, one day I want to go to CES. That sounds so amazing. But now it's like, not a big deal.
Not into smart toilets?
We do spend a lot of time on the toilet, though. Don't underestimate that.
That was mentioned in almost every article.
Something that really caught my attention is AARP for the seniors. They are out there. And the neat thing...
For you, Jeff?
Well, no, it's for the silver tsunami, all the people that are aging and stuff. One of the largest growing populations and one of the most richest populations is the senior citizens of today. The thing is, with the onset of age-related visual impairments and macular degeneration, all that they are innovating more and more accessible tools for this population, even though we could get into how voc rehab won't pay for it. But it's a bad thing, but it's also a good thing because innovation and invention will come to rescue them or help them out. And I think it's interesting that AARP is out at CES.
One thing that did catch my attention, and I did not like the headline to this article, but LG was showing off a new smart washer, and then it said for stupid people. And it really wasn't for stupid people, but it was for people with disabilities, I thought, because this new smart washer, what it does is it'll differentiate between your colors of clothing and everything, which is obviously something blind people have an issue with. And it also had voice control built into it. Now, I don't own a washer or dryer, and yes, Jeff, I do have my clothes washed, but I use Fluff and Fold where they come and pick it up and everything. But eventually, hopefully...
Fluff and Fold.
Fluff and Fold, man. It's cheap. It's fantastic. They pick it up one day, bring it back the next, and I don't have to waste my time doing laundry. And we know how valuable my time is. This is something I thought LG was coming out with a washer and dryer, and the washer could send information to the dryer about the fabrics and everything. I thought this was something that was fantastic for blind, visually impaired people. Of course, hopefully every feature will either be able to be voice activated, because I imagine it'll have a touch screen of some kind, which could complicate this whole thing. But this was something that did catch my attention from CES so far.
Well, I can understand why people have trouble with washers and dryers, especially if you're a family, because when the kids come of age where they're going to wash their own clothes or they think they know how to wash their own clothes, they love to switch stuff to like permanent press or to fluff instead of, warm, medium, high drying temperatures and stuff. So they flick the switches.
Yeah, this all figured it out for you. I thought it was fantastic.
Well, it'd be nice if it would just get reset to like the master setting, like bring it all back. This is how daddy likes it.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying and everything, but I got no gifts for the holidays or absolutely nothing.
Wait a second.
Oh.
Serena, do you feel offended that the two guys were talking about washers and dryers and you're still wondering what Fluff and Fold is?
Nope. I have no problem with you guys doing all the laundry. It's all good.
We're modern men, Serena. We don't. Again, I'm not going to say anything further because I'll just get in
At
trouble.
least you have the forethought of that now.
Yes.
And I did my own laundry for years when I could see and know how to operate it. And I had washer and dryers in my building and everything. So, and just a full disclaimer for the listeners: when I said washer, we weren't talking about washing machines for dishes. We were talking, washers for clothes and everything, just so you understand. But
really,
because that's a dishwasher.
What level of intelligence do you think our listeners have? I mean, if you say washer and dryer, are they getting that confused? I mean, Brian.
Apparently, Brian gets it confused.
Raise the bar.
yeah.
You got to be this tall to ride this ride, remember?
And don't put your kid in the washer, because I just read somebody killed their kid doing that. So that's frowned upon.
You said
I believe.
that?
So yeah.
That can't be true.
I didn't say it. I read it.
What are you reading?
I just get a lot of weird notifications. You didn't read about that? It happened over the holidays and everything.
I heard somebody killed their snake by baking a
Like
pizza.
they killed their... First off, what do you have
The snake was in the oven.
Were they playing hide and seek with the snake?
They did not know.
Was the snake's name Hansel?
Oh, stop it.
I don't get it. Hansel and
You
Gretel?
don't remember Hansel and Gretel?
Was one of them a snake?
Oh my
No,
god.
they were
What?
two kids.
Brian?
Yeah, but I don't
You don't
get the
remember
snake
this
reference.
fairy
it's the
tale,
fairy
sort
tale.
of?
Do I have kids?
It's not even a kid-related thing.
Brian, did you have a
Yeah.
childhood?
This is basic. Did you have school?
I did not. I went straight from the womb to 16.
Apparently.
You didn't know that?
You came out driving. Huh.
Driving you crazy. So, was there a point to the snake in the, not Serena, but to Jeff, Snake Hansel?
Just move on.
Yeah.
He didn't even
we're
say it
so
right.
far.
Hey, I'm really congested, so I'm trying to get through this as easy, as painlessly as possible.
Yeah. And for our listeners, get them through the pain as well.
You mean the one that's left? So, Jeff, I did not get any new products for the holiday because I got everything in July on that real holiday, Prime Day. But are you standing while we're recording this? Because you got some weird new product, huh?
Well, first of all, I studied and looked up and read about because my wife at their work, she has these desks that you hit a button and they go up. So you could stand during the daytime for periods of time or lower it down and sit. And so I thought something like that would help because I do a lot of work on the computer and stuff and I just get knotted up, I guess is what I would say. So I wanted to stand. I got 2 tables. They're Husky. They're from Home Depot. And what's really nice about them is it's a solid maple top. Okay. And then it has legs, like a T-shaped legs on the sides. But then there's a crank on the right-hand side, and it's very discreet. It's small and stuff. And I can just crank it, and it goes up to a good standing position, and I can bring it down. I got 2 of them. The other one has 2 drawers on it. I keep one up for my MacBook Pro, and for this station, I keep it down. But today, I brought it up and left it up all day. So I did some editing on an autonomous car podcast I'll be releasing on Blind Abilities. Little pitch there. But yeah, it felt good to be standing, and I really think it's a new thing for me, and I really like it.
Standing is a new thing for you?
Well, standing while doing editing and doing what I usually do, just because it changes your posture, and it's a good thing. Because is it sedentary?
You'd mentioned that earlier. I wasn't familiar with that.
Sedentary is the new smoking.
Sedentary. Good job.
Oh, I did read that. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. They're going to find out 5 years from now that standing causes cancer. I can't get into all this new wave of thinking.
Oh, yeah. The upright Homo sapiens did it to themselves.
Exactly. Cavemen were always in the crouching position, weren't they?
They're not around anymore.
Well, dude, that was a long time ago. History. That Big Bang that you were there to witness. Are you the last of the Mohicans?
Hi, Serena.
Hi, Jeffrey.
So on that note, boy, I don't know why I put up with these 2 people. So Serena.
Your 2 friends.
I'm sorry. Who said we were friends, to steal a line from Serena?
These are outside the head thoughts, Brian.
What's that?
You're having a lot of outside the head thoughts that really should be inside the head.
Yeah.
Did you catch that frog?
I did catch that frog, and I believe I was the only one that spent holidays at the friends' houses, or a house. Yeah, it was plural. So, yeah, I have 3 friends. You're both wrong. And 4 friends if I count my guide dog. 5 friends if I count my imaginary friend.
The fact that you have to count your guide dog and your imaginary friend is concerning. But to answer your question, what I have going on, nothing this month.
Smonth? What's a smonth?
Work.
Did you say smonth?
Nothing this month.
Oh.
This month.
Must have been a Bluetooth audio line.
How much cold medicine have you taken right now?
I'm on no cold medicine. I'm flying high on life, lady.
That Colorado high.
That's what they call it now, huh?
I have a friend that wants to get me a t-shirt that says, and I might have said this on the podcast before, I like coffee and maybe 2 other people. So you'll have to figure out if you work into that equation. So you have nothing going on this month. What about next month?
Next month's Valentine's Day.
Did Brian just say smug?
You know what, though? It's so funny,
said.
you guys. My birthday's in 2 weeks, and I forgot that I have a birthday in 2 weeks.
I won't ask you how old, but...
No, you won't.
Yeah, when's your birthday? What day?
January 19th.
Oh, okay. Well, my birthday is on the biggest holiday of the year this year.
Super Bowl Sunday?
Yep.
The second.
It's also Groundhog Day, so it's
Groundhog's
multiple
Day?
holidays on my birthday.
So everyone just had to keep reliving.
It's also Groundhog Day.
So everyone just had to keep reliving.
It's also Groundhog Day. By the way, I am accepting gifts at thatblindtechshow@gmail.com.
La 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 la.
No ticking gifts, though. No ticking gifts.
Gifts, hate mail, same difference.
Serena's birthday is 9/11 backwards.
Ooh, that's depressing.
Thanks a lot. Actually, though, technically, it's 9110 backwards.
So what, do you have any plans for your birthday?
Not that I know of.
Hey, Jeff, should we tell her about the surprise party we're going to throw in a chat room?
Yeah, the invisible one.
It's in an AOL chat room.
Nice. Do those still exist?
I don't know, but that's where all my friends are. I have so many friends on AOL Instant Messenger, and they all disappeared at once. So, Jeff, besides going to the Serena birthday party in the AOL chat room, what do you have coming up?
I have been starting hockey, so during the week here, I've looked at the rinks, and Tuesdays and Thursdays I can go to open skating. And what's really interesting is they have open skating for everybody, and then there's a seniors open skating. And I was thinking, 55 and older, but they actually have 50 and older, and it's like, huh?
I don't know what difference that makes. Either way, you qualify. So
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm going with the kids. It's a neat new high for me to get out there and do that because every Sunday I'm down at the rink, and it's interesting. The people involved in it really makes it a big thing. And when we were at the holiday party, all the families that were there for the youngsters, on the other half of the rink, they'll be teaching kids how to skate, blind kids that want to skate, and different nationalities and all sorts of stuff. So it's like not only are they disabled, there's minorities, there's all sorts of stuff going on, but we're all there for one thing, and it's just to come together and enjoy hockey, skating, and being part of something. And it's bigger than anything that it is for me. It's much bigger than that. So I really like it, and I can't wait another 40 years to put on skates. So I got to do it now.
Is that because you don't have 40 years left, or
Brian,
what? Who knows? You probably outlived me. I'll probably get hit by a bus when the.
you guys are so morbid right now, both of you.
Well, take yourself, Serina. What sport did you do or anything that you did in high school? And now it's been X amount of years. Can you wait another X amount of years to try something? It's like one of those things like, hey, I'm going to give it a shot now.
No, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
I'm commenting more on the Brian saying he's going to get hit by a bus.
But you said you guys are so morbid. Wait, why am I tossed under this bus with him?
Guilt by association.
Yeah, because you guys are both male.
Oh. So you want to throw Chucky in on this too? Is it all men are evil type thing? Hashtag me too?
Did you really just call him Chucky?
I was
my husband?
Yeah.
I was talking about the doll, not your husband.
I was like, really?
Don't ever do that, Brian. Don't ever put that in the show
Never?
notes or
Never?
in a podcast. Never do that. I will edit that, Serina, just because.
No, you won't. Like, you edited the last one when I was like, this can't go in the show. And then there it goes.
Our evil editor overrode you.
Oh, you did listen to the podcast.
The editor gets the final say.
You know what the biggest comment on the holiday one that went out was?
I
That
do.
people
I
told
do.
me
Ooh,
about?
ooh,
Yeah.
Mr. Connor?
That big, yeah.
Can I guess?
Okay, Horshack, go
Did
ahead.
you? What? Mr. Connor?
Where's Serina?
Finding Serina.
Serina had a lot going on.
It was the biggest question. I think you owe it to the listeners to say something. I mean,
Well, Jeff, I thought it was where's Serina Williams, though.
Of course. Because
Yeah.
she always makes appearances
Yeah.
on this show.
Yeah.
Insert eye roll.
30 loves.
Hashtag he's so annoying.
That's a good hashtag.
So, yeah. Can I copyright that? So I have the biggest party of the year coming up, which if you listen to our podcast at the end of last December, meaning 18, I was invited back. So I'll have multiple friends at that party. But the Gotham holiday party, it's always in January where all the comics get together and talk about you people. When I say you people, I mean audience members.
Is it closed to the public?
It is, yes. Yeah. It's just thank you from the club for comics and that sort of thing. And it's really nice shindig, open bar, hors d'oeuvres. They even have a massage chair where you sit, they massage your neck and everything. And they have a live band upstairs. They have DJ downstairs and everything. And
Do they use the same chair each time?
no, most comics are germaphobes, so they throw the chair out in between each comic and everything. So,
Okay.
yeah, we have issues. But so I got that, and then I'm sure we'll be recording, shortly thereafter. I got some other things that I can't talk about because I'm in the CIA. Yeah, so it should be an exciting few weeks before we record again. And
So pay attention to the next podcast where Brian can't talk much at all. It'll be a doozy.
Yeah, because people in the CIA tell people that they're in the CIA.
I am. Hey, on that note, I watched the LSU game with a good buddy from college who came over, who actually is in the CIA. So, people can tell you.
You just outed yourself, Brian. Seriously.
Why did Microsoft call it the Seeing AI then? Because it's close to CIA.
Yeah, it's food for thought. And on that note, we are out.
Be sure to follow That Blind Tech Show on Twitter at Blind Tech Show and drop us an email at thatblindtechshow@gmail.com. I want to thank you all for listening. We hope you enjoyed. And until next time, bye-bye.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap between
the limited expectations and the realities
of blind abilities.
The realities of blind
abilities.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities. Download our app from the App Store, blindabilities, that's 2 words, or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Thanks for listening.